Hello friends, I'm Timur and you're watching the Nastolki live channel. Today I want to tell you about a game, Enigma Beyond Code. This is another Russian novelty from the Crowd Games publisher. What spy games are hidden into this little box? Let's take a look. The game box contains 10 mention cards, 9 character cards, a time sheet with a time token, chaos tokens, decryption tokens, triumph tokens, silence tokens, and a chaos breakthrough token, 5 notebooks and 6 reference sheets. Setup. Now let's prepare the game. The rulebook suggests several variants for setup depending on the number of players and understanding of a gameplay. We will overview the standard setup for 3 to 5 players who have already played at least one game. First, you need to prepare the mention. You won't need the Soul Work card, since it's used for solo mode only. Shuffle other 9 cards and place them face down in the center of the table in a 3x3 grid. Determine the first player, who receives the timesheet and puts the time token on the first point. Near the mention, place the Chaos Breakthrough token with the number 1 face up. Also place Chaos, Decryption and Triumph tokens equal to the number of players, and Silence tokens -1. Next, let's prepare the characters. You need to remove from the deck 1 Decryptor and 1 Dark Messiah card. Shuffle all other cards and give them out face down, by 1 to each player. Then, place remaining cards near the mention. After this, each player receives a notebook and a reference sheet. And now you can start playing. Gameplay. The first player begins the game. Before taking one's turn, he or she must move the time token by 1 point. It must be done even in the very first player's turn. Players will take their turns and the game will end immediately as soon as the time token reaches the last point on the time track. Every player's task is to achieve a character objective before time runs out. On one's turn, the player has 1 mandatory action and 1 extra action. The player must call a mention card and can try it to achieve a character objective. To call a mention card, active player chooses one of 9 mention cards. If this card is face down, the player looks at it secretly, and if it's face up, then just points at it. Afterwards, the player says the card name aloud. He or she can say the truth or lie, and this can lead you to 2 different scenarios. First scenario, if all other players have believed the actual player. In this case, the player applies an effect of chosen card, regardless of which card it actually was. Second scenario, one of the rivals hasn't believed in active player's honesty. In this case, the doubted player looks at chosen card secretly. If there is really the declared card, the doubted player turns it face up and takes a silence token, and the active player applies the card effect. If there is another card, the doubted player announces to other participants that the active player has lied, but doesn't open the declared card and leaves it to lay face down. Exposed player gets a silence token and passes the turn to other players without applying the card effect. To achieve a character objective. To achieve a character objective, the player needs to fulfill the conditions indicated on a character card. This action you can make in your turn after you have called a mention card, or instead of this. To perform an action, the player opens one's character card, and if he or she can fulfill the conditions, immediately wins. If the player has mistaken, he or she quits the game and the round goes on. I'll show you an example for better understanding. On one's turn, the player has opened the Decryptor card. To achieve an objective, he or she must have a Decryption token and show Command Room and Enigma code cards. The player already has the token. Command Room card is open, so it's enough to just point at it. Thanks to one's own records, the player deduces the Enigma card location. If the player succeeds, he or she will win the game. Description of the tokens. You can get Decryption and Chaos tokens with help of some mention cards. You need them for achieving objectives of some characters, but also you can use them in a special way. For example, discarding a Decryption token, the player can call 1 additional mention card, but only face down one. In addition, you can discard a Chaos token to cancel an action of Enigma machine card, which can turn back time. Now let's talk about silence tokens. Getting such token, the player immediately ends one's turn, he or she cannot speak and doubt someone's words. Thus, if all your rivals have such token, you can lie freely even about face-up cards, using another card effect which is more useful. Also, in one's turn, the player with the silence token can only look at the mentioned card, but cannot call it. After this, the player discards token and passes the turn. End of the game. The game can end in two cases. Firstly, when one of the players achieves one's objective. Secondly, when the time token reaches the last point on the time sheet. For a more interesting game, the authors recommend to play until 3 victories. You can use Triumph tokens and the Chaos Breakthrough token for this. The winner gets a Triumph token and places it in front of oneself with the number 1 face up. Winning for the second time, the player turns over this token. Winning for the third time becomes the winner of all game. However, if the participants are not very quick, they can even lose the game. If time runs up and no one achieves an objective, the Chaos Breakthrough token must be turned over to the side with a number 2. Losing the round in that way one more time, the participants will fail. Mention cards. Now I want to tell you a little about mention cards. You already know that you need them for achieving objectives. Moreover, these cards help participants to reach their objectives by offering them different abilities. For example, if you don't have a Chaos token, get a Decryption token. And if you have a Chaos token, discard it. Or if you have Chaos token, look at another face-down mention card. All the card effects focus on that players have a chance to achieve an objective interacting with cards. Personal notes. And the last one. Each player has a personal notebook, which allows recording names of known mention cards and noting who looked each card. However, if it isn't comfortable for you, you don't have to make notes, just remember everything. Conclusion. Enigma Beyond Code is obviously a game of deductive genre. Its rules are very simple. One game lasts no more than 10 minutes, and set of 3 games can take up to an hour. The number of players doesn't affect the gameplay at all. And for solo game fans, there is a solo mode. Thank you for watching our video. We will be happy if you like it and subscribe to our channel. And be sure to play different games.